go. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Galactic Nerd Outpost. I'm your host, Joey McGee, aka Gojin the Makai Phantom, and joining me is Kaiju Cody for the first time in quite a bit.
Let me talk to you.
And, of course, Meatbag, formerly known as Abyss Kaiser.
Meat bag style.
Why would you want to go from Abyss Kaiser, such a badass name, to to Meatbag?
I have no clue.
My full name's Reptilian Meatbag. It's still something cool though.
But of course, we have some other hosts that are supposed to be coming today, including the one who snowballed the idea, G.N.O. But we'll see if they make it. The other is TheGentleDragon, which you guys probably remember on the Xbox episode. But for now, it's just the three of us. Hopefully that expands. But what we'll be talking
the three of us.
But what we'll be talking about today is, of course, something that we're all very passionate about, that being physical media. And for those curious about the stuff featured in the thumbnail, like obviously Doom Eternal, Turok Evolution, Kamen Rider Ryuki, and Godzilla -1, with the manga being Sky High, which I have not read the Sky High manga, but the J-drama adaptation by Yumiko Shaku is really good. So I do want to read that manga. Tokupunk said, "Sup, not much. I'm doing pretty alright, I'd say. What about you three?"
I'm doing.
I plead the fifth.
Tokupunk also said Ryuki, Kamen Rider Ryuki being in the thumbnail, is the greatest series. It's definitely up there. I'm quite a fan of that one myself, and I'll be right back.
I prefer Dragon Knight. And no, I don't actually mean that. I literally just said that to piss off Tokupunk. Because for those who don't... Yeah, Kamen Rider Dragon Knight is basically an American adaptation of Kamen Rider Ryuki. It does the Power Rangers thing where it takes the Japanese footage, fight footage from the Japanese show, and then makes the whole story and drama footage with American actors. But yeah, what we're talking about here today is the fact that, well, when it comes to the media we consume, we want to touch it.
That's it.
Yeah. We like to hold it in our hands. We like to stroke it real nice. We like the way it feels, so smooth, so soft.
Everyone, I'm apologizing for Cody being a weirdo right now.
Hey, Joey left us high and dry. I gotta kill time somehow.
Yeah, fair enough.
But, yeah. There's sort of a movement that's been going on recently. Okay, it's sort of, people will argue it started with the introduction of streaming services, but lately it seems like the world is slowly phasing out physical media, like the same way VHSs were phased out when DVDs were introduced, and then DVDs sort of took a backseat to Blu-rays. That's what's happening right now with physical media as a whole. Like there's even big retail chains like Best Buy have said that they'll stop selling physical copies of like shows and movies and stuff. And there's some gaming companies that are switching to getting to digital copies, just plain digital copies of their game, and not selling any more physical copies. And there's been a bit of a backlash to this on the internet, as you could probably guess, and rightfully so, in my opinion. But then there's some people who are coming out, and I think some idiot in charge of a major gaming label said gamers are just gonna have to get used to not actually owning the games they play, and it's just like, bitch, what? What the fuck you just say? The hell with all that. Like, even if I did play video games, I would be pissed about this. And I'm still kind of pissed. I mean, I'll admit, I get the appeal of doing things digitally. It's more convenient and like it saves you space in the house. But when it comes to physical media, you actually hold the product in your hand, and it can't ever be taken away from you unless someone breaks into your house and shoots you just for that movie or game. But who'd be crazy enough to do that, right? Right?
Yeah.
So, basically, what the podcast is going to boil down to, hopefully, is that what I think it is that streaming and digital copies are good and all, but man, don't take away the option for us to actually hold it in our hands. That's fucked up.
I'm back, everyone. So, when I was gone, found some interesting news, and it's perfect for this topic of the podcast. But my brother found a PlayStation 2. It's old and dusted up, and we don't know if it's gonna work, but fucking hell if it does. New PlayStation 2, bitches.
Right on.
But yeah, I'm back. I'm here to discuss. And I want to say one thing. I did hear some of what Cody said, and yes, I agree. Digital does have its place in the world. Like, it's great for streaming services. I love streaming when it comes to Netflix, Game Pass when it had some good stuff on it, and still does to some degree, but that price increase, man. But that's a whole nother topic altogether. And it's a really good job at seeing if you want to have something. But as a whole, I'm not really big on... It's not a replacement for me. Because the thing about digital, and I do get it to some degree, because it does have a lot of convenience to it. If many people don't care about collecting, like, one thing we all have to remember, collection is very, very subjective. It's all based on our personal emotion and whether or not it makes us happy.
You collect these nuts.
Yeah. So whether or not you want to participate in buying stuff for your collection, that's going to be different from stuff. Some people having a physical copy of any of this stuff isn't going to mean anything to them because they just want to watch or play it, and that's fair. But as a whole, if you like physical media, like, I like to be able to hold the copy in my hand because I actually have something. It's not
wants
just
to touch it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you noticed this, Cody, but I took that little joke you did and put it in the title.
Oh, trust me, I noticed when I saw that. I was so proud of myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, something that actually stuck.
I felt like that. I felt like that title would, like, I knew you were joking when you did it, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna add it anyway.
I was half joking, half serious. Like, part of the appeal of your channel is doing some sort of like edgy humor or humor in general, and I'm like, hey, that's funny for various reasons, so let's go for it.
Yep, and that's why Nathaniel, aka Zimzilla99, when we had that podcast revolving the controversy around Stellar Blade, he was really happy to make that thumbnail, which I'm sure you've seen it. Like, you have the pony with their tongue out and the no bitches face from Megamind. You have all of that, and Nathaniel straight up. Nathaniel said he enjoys doing thumbnails for my channel because he's able to be a little more over the top than he is on his, and that's because on Nathaniel's channel he tries more to be the serious type, objective, well, as objective as you can be with something like this, essayist, but
so more boring.
Yeah, his content's interesting. Don't get me wrong. I love Zimzilla's content. It's very educational, informative, and there is some humor thrown around it in times, but as a whole, it's more serious. Well, me, I want to have, I want to be informative. I want to provide you an opinion that's persuasive, and if it doesn't change your mind, you could at least understand it / respect it. But
Well, I see why you would want to be all that, but I'll tell you something I want to be, Joey. I want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
fair enough. And I also want to be, of course, and I want to do all that in a very entertaining and fun sort of way. Now, of course, I have to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Keep myself on a leash at times, and sometimes I'll write a joke down, and I'm like, okay, this will be funny, and then I look at it later, it's like, that's too far.
Too far or not far enough?
Like in my Son of Kong review that I'm currently working on, it's taking a while because I have another person I need to collab with. So everyone, please bear with me. There was a joke I wrote in, and I'm still debating if I want it in. But I'll just say it revolves around you guys remember that that Asian guy in the film that has his nipples out in Son of Kong when they're at the little what's the word I'm looking for? God damn it. When they're at that thing where they meet Hililda.
The show?
You remember that Asian guy with his nipples out?
I remember.
Like, I do a joke on that, which you guys will see if it makes it into the final video, but it's a little edgy, and it's like, oh man, do I want to delve into this? But we'll see. At the end of the day, it's a joke. It's satire. It's fun. If you get offended by it, that's on you. There's no hostility.
Oh yeah, and I gotta apologize to your viewers because I'm for part of the reason that the Son of Kong videos are getting held up a little bit because I'm supposed to collaborate with Gojin on it, but I've been busy with things.
Yeah, exactly. And which is perfectly understandable. Like, that's a big reason we haven't had the podcast for a while. And when I did, I tackled topics that you didn't really have a horse in.
For sure.
Yeah, but,
you want a horse.
oh, fuck off. I'm not Vosh. Ultra Madden Connorstead said Pokemon is good. I used to like the anime as a kid. I haven't watched it in years, and I played some of one of the games, and I enjoyed that too. But I can't say I'm a Pokemon fan yet, but I do want to give it more of a chance, particularly the games.
I'm a casual Pokemon fan. If I see it on, I'll watch it, but I won't go out of my way to like fan over it or defend it. That's why I'm not like going after Toku Punk satirically because he's like, ew, Pokemon, and just said never liked Pokemon. Hey, you do you, boo boo. I'm gonna get a picnic basket.
Yeah, yeah. But one thing I will give Pokemon is it is one of the things that popularized. It was one of the starting factors that popularized some Japanese media here in the West, rather it be JRPGs or even anime.
Yeah, and here's my question: when are we gonna get like a comprehensive release of the Pokemon series here in America, preferably in physical media?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there are some DVDs of it, but I don't think there's a full season 1, a full season 2, and stuff like that.
Well, they need to get to work on that because I've been looking everywhere on the internet for it on like streaming and everything, and like they used to have the whole thing on Netflix. The whole first season on Netflix, and then some of the second season. But then they took away some of those episodes away, and they now have a incomplete first season. So I'm just like, that's another hit against streaming, and why you should also advocate more for physical media, because stuff like that happens. Like, one day you might have your favorite thing taken off of the internet, or only part of it's left on, and then there's others that may be taken off altogether, never to be seen again. Like,
Yeah,
for example, this isn't actually something I advocate for or was upset about because I never watched it. From what I hear, it's not so good. On Paramount Plus, they put out a live action sequel to that one Nickelodeon show, Fairly Odd Parents, and people fucking hated it. And it's so bad that they took it off the streaming service, and it's never been seen again since.
Are you
Now,
talking about those movies with Drake Bell?
no, did an actual sequel where Timmy, as an adult, gives his fairy godparents to his kids. Now,
Oh yeah, that one.
Now, I don't care about that at all, but I'm just using it as a jumping off point to explain what if that were to happen to something that you actually cared about, you actually liked. Something's taken away from the internet and you won't ever be able to find it again. That's where physical media would be a good fallback.
Yeah, and as Tokapunk said, and nothing of value was lost. And, well, here's the thing. Even the worst pieces of media out there, I don't like the idea of media being lost. Like, I like the idea of lost media being discovered. I find that to be fascinating. But lost media in of itself, it's not a good thing. And even if it's absolutely garbage, I think people should be able to go and experience it, especially people who some reason like it. Even if it's the worstly made piece of garbage on earth, there's going to be someone out there that appreciates it, whether it be nostalgia, the concept resonating with them, or whatever. There's going to be some value there. And
as an example, Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic, once said he's never had anyone come up to him at a convention and say that they would defend the Garbage Pail Kids movie to him. But then one of his followers sent him a link to a forum where there's a bunch of people who adore that piece of crap movie and talk about it like it's the second coming. So, just as an example of what you were talking about, Gojin.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that another thing that's very important in a discussion like this is we can't just write off bad media either, because even though, again, like I said, this is a lot, there are more objective ways to look at stuff in terms of quality. There's no definitive of like 100% truthful, absolute truth, objective way to look at something. So it's kind of a slippery slope for something to say something even bad should be gone, because again, that still has some form of opinion involved with it.
And another thing that you could actually learn from this bad media, learn how not to do media. Now, granted, you can say that the Fairly Odd Parents live action sitcom disappearing might be a good example of that, but there's other ways to go about it.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways to go about it. And that's why I think it should be available. Like, maybe some people also would want to just turn it on to laugh at how bad it is. That also has its value. Like, I've watched some trauma movies. I've watched this one movie with these little monsters in a pit. I watched that movie with that ugly ass twin brother monster in a basket. Those are all terrible, but they're fucking hilarious.
Right on. I don't like trauma movies myself. It's not my thing, but I get that they're trying to be intentionally bad. They're satirical. They're parodies of those low-grade, campy schlockfests you can find sometimes, especially in the 50s and 80s, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Tokapunk Productions said Blackaroonie would like to have a word with you on one in particular. I don't know what I said that would be disagreeable. Like, I'm pretty sure I just spitted facts there.
I actually tried to watch one of those dudes' more recent videos, something about Godzilla having an identity crisis, and then when he got to a part in the video where he called 1984 and Godzilla vs. Biollante the most contrived movies of the Heisei series, and then tried to move past that. I'm like, okay, turn this off. Fuck this shit.
You mean from Blackaroonie who did that?
I'm pretty sure that was him.
I'm not surprised. Like, I've watched Blackaroonie's video on what's the word I'm looking for? I watched Blackaroonie's video on the Godzilla franchise mostly having bad movies, and it was fucking awful. I even wrote an entire novel after novel in Zim's server to explain how shitty the video was. And basically it boiled down to, oh, Godzilla shouldn't be a hero. This is stupid. And stuff like the Showa era with Son of Godzilla, not realizing the hero element boils down to Godzilla's essence in Japanese culture, his roots of being kami-like, because the kami, for those who don't know, those are Shinto gods that have some type of relation to nature. You do something that's for nature, the kami will side with you. You go against nature, the kami will punish you.
Yeah, and we're saying kami, not commie, like communist.
Yeah, like kami, like it's a god in Japanese mythos. That's what Godzilla is, and that's something and that's another thing I don't like is these people that have their heads so far up their own ass, they don't even know what they're talking about. And
You realize what you need to do now, don't you, Joey? You need to make a roast video on that video about the Godzilla series mostly being bad movies.
Yeah, I have to. I'll consider it because in the video we also said something like the Millennium series is Bay Formers tier, which again I can't go into as much detail as I did in Zim's server, and I'm sure he's seen that shit. But since I don't have all the notes with me right now, but that shit was really fucking bad. It's like how is
now, hold on a minute. You can't compare to the Millennium series to that level of garbage. The Bay former movies are absolute crap. Who can fucking love those?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's something I absolutely take issue with. And again, I'm not against Blackaroonie having this more critical thinking method to looking at art. Like that's my channel. Like I like to look at things critically. But one, I don't act like. At least I try not to act like it. A overly condescending douchebag. And two, I also
you're not doing a very good job.
And two, I just I try to know what I'm talking about. I don't say any of the stupid shit he was saying about the franchise that completely misunderstands Godzilla. And I'm not gonna pull the whole this is Dr. Skipper tier stuff or Godzilla.
Yeah, sounds like it is.
It is, but I mean, a lot of those fans think the biggest problem with that Dr. Skipper video was his takes on the MonsterVerse when he said, which his criticisms of the MonsterVerse were horrible. Don't get me wrong, but there was way dumber shit said in that video than anything he said on the MonsterVerse.
For sure.
And that's the same with Blackaroonie. It's like I'm not just like there's valid reasons to hate the monster. I don't agree with it. I think the MonsterVerse is fun, and I think there's things the MonsterVerse does right in a critical sense, like the Kong story in GXK. Fucking amazing, very well done, full of emotion, well implemented in, so much character, well done.
Speaking of which, I need to buy a DVD copy of that before, physical media disappears off the shelves forever.
I want to say something. Now, this brings me to another point I want to do on physical media. I don't think physical media is ever gonna go away. I hope
not.
I don't think it ever will because there's still companies that make a big deal out of it. Like, for example, when when a game's sales get announced, the first thing that's mentioned, to my understanding, is the physical units, how much those sell. Now, granted, the physical units do not sell as much as the standard, and that's
not like they used to.
Yeah, but still, it's a profitable market. That's why they're still sold. Like, for example, when the physical copies, like a lot of these collector's editions are made, like the Godzilla -1 version you see there, right there, is because there's a market for it. The casual people who watch Godzilla -1, they're not going to buy that shit. Very few, unless they absolutely loved the movie and they don't want to wait. It's already on digital.
I won't be able to buy it either. I mean, I want to, but because I'm broke as a joke, I don't even have like a Blu-ray player that I could watch that all on. And honestly, I wouldn't mind just having a standard copy of it, be it DVD, or if I eventually get an actual Blu-ray player, get off my poor ass and do that.
Oh, I understand, but what I'm saying is with the -1 collector set right there is that's for the hardcore collectors who want to have the best physical media possible, and it's for and it's for people who can afford it. Now, typically, I wouldn't able to afford it, but I'm stubborn and I must fucking have it, and I'm gonna find a way to fucking get it.
I must have it for my nest.
Yeah. Tokupunk said, on your take of bad media. See, that's another reason I don't like him, is he seems as if what I said about bad media is something he'd disagree with, then What just happened? Oh, Aaron left. He'll probably be back. If what I said
I don't
about
think
bad
so.
media,
I don't think so. He said he was just coming in to say hi.
okay. But if what I said about bad media is something that he would disagree with, then he's got ego problems. Because again, while I'm all for looking at things as objective as possible, there's no such thing as absolute truth when it comes to something like this. Same goes for other topics like politics. Like, you can grab objective evidence, but you still have to process it through your subjective interpretation, and there's a heavy likeness. It's heavily likely that your personal enjoyment is still going to influence it to some extent. So
To err is to be human. So that means anything that we produce, be it a piece of media or an opinion on said media, is more than likely to have some sort of inherent flaw to it. Thus, true objectivity is unreachable.
exactly. Like, it's like you can be as objective as possible. That's what grabbing evidence is for, but it's still being processed through a subjective lens. That's why I don't like when people are like, oh, objectivity means this. When I say I'm going to look at something objectively, it's like, no, I don't mean my opinion is objective. I mean, it's a subjective perception based on what I can verify to the best of my ability.
Right on, right on.
But yeah, if Blackaroonie took issue with anything that would take issue with anything I said there, it's like, or anybody in particular, because I feel like a lot of film snobs think their opinion is the absolute truth, when the key to critical thinking is looking at how things can be read and realizing that yours isn't the only valid opinion / interpretation.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I don't go out actively seeking many reviews anymore, only because it honestly seems like a lot of these critics who want to have the definitive take on a movie are too busy with their heads stuck up their own asses.
Yeah, and I try not to be that. That's why in my Kamen Rider Black Sun review, I gave my interpretation of some things, but I also went into some things that some other ways the piece of media was able to be read as.
Right on, right on.
And like I said, that's just something I don't like about a lot of films. Like, I've been accused of being a film snob, but I don't think I fall under that in particular, because like I said, I still acknowledge it. And again, even if I think your take is bad, if you're not being a rude motherfucker, I will leave you alone. Like, now, like, typically, like, now, that's just a topic I feel like needs to be off my chest. Now, again, like I said, movies and all that are a complex medium. There's no full subjectivity or full objectivity. Now, when you compare it to other pieces of art with their ratio of objectivity and subjectivity, it is more objective than something like I could be wrong, maybe I'm just ignorant, but I feel like movies probably have more objective layers than something like music. Now, don't get me wrong, music still has some form of objectivity that can be raced. Like, you could probably judge by how the instruments and vocals balance out with each other, how the lyrics are written, obviously, and how everything matches up. But as a whole, I feel like since music is a very simple medium compared to very big collaborative efforts like movies, TV shows, and video games that require lots of viewing, thinking, interpretation, I feel like music is much more simple in that regard. And
well, you are definitely ignorant. Now, here, I'm going to just making a joke at the fact that you said I might be ignorant. But no, seriously. Okay. But no, seriously. There are whole channels that are dedicated to dissecting music the way that you try to for movies. Tokupunk knows because he just said straight up he hates music reviewers. There's a few like Todd in the Shadows, who was the resident music reviewer for Channel Awesome before he said, fuck this shit, I'm out. And then there's Rocked Reviews, where the host of that talks strictly about rock music. Now, I have watched some of their reviews, and their reviews have made me think about music more than I ever had before in more intricate detail. However, I gotta say, music reviewers have personally not had the same effect on me that movie reviewers back in the day had. Having said that, that's because I'm a music I'm a movie guy more than I am a music guy. So just because that's how it is for me, doesn't mean it isn't going to be necessarily the same for someone else who might be more into music than they are into movies.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's still some objectivity that goes into that, because here's the thing, anything that you have to practice for and get better, there's some objective layers to it. I just don't think it's as objective, since movies and all that have big, but I could be wrong on that.
Well, yeah, you never know. I guess you have to be on the other side of the curtain to know for sure. But
Yeah.
I will say one thing about all these music reviewers. They all have the same take that I'll never agree with. They all think that Nickelback sucks, and they're absolutely wrong, because Nickelback is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I like Nickelback. Like, that's another reason here's another reason why I think that music isn't as, like, again, there's still a place for musical analysis because there's objectivity involved. But another reason why I don't think there's as many objective layers to be judged in music, because, well, since there is
something Togufunk just put in the comments.
He said, "This photograph." Oh, I get it. This photograph.
Look at this photograph.
Like, the criticism Nickelback receives, a lot of it is because their musical style isn't exactly original. You can compare them to many others. Now, don't get me wrong, movies also can get critiqued for originality, but I don't feel like it's to the same degree, and I'll always stand on this hill right here. I don't think originality is that effective of a criticism in terms of objectivity, since I feel like a style and story and anything like that can be told and done over and over again. It's a matter of how good it is.
Oh, there's more critiques to Nickelback than just originality, but
there could be.
Yeah, but no, there really is. I have seen, like I said, I've seen the reviews on YouTube, so I know. No, straight up, a lot of people have many different opinions to go at Nickelback from. Of course, everyone's entitled to their own opinions. They're not ones I personally agree with, but yeah, it is what it is. Now, let me ask you something, Joey, to tie back into the main topic of the podcast. Are you content with just listening to your music online, or would you like maybe CD players, cassettes, possibly even vinyls of the music that you like, if you had the choice?
Here's the thing, like, I've considered buying physical music personally, but I don't, what's the word I'm looking for? I haven't bought any in years, but that's mainly because, again, I don't have a whole lot of money on me, and music is probably more accessible than any other piece of art out there. Very, very convenient piece of art, so it kind of discourages you from going out of your way to buy something like that to the same degree. It's why, for example, it takes me a while to buy something on Game Pass or Netflix, and I'm talking about like Xbox exclusives and Netflix exclusives, because chances are they're not going to be leaving anytime soon, but I still buy what I really like eventually. But I am open to getting some more music, because, again, I do love music. I love music just as much as I do movies and TV shows. 1 minute, I'll be back.
I'll be back, he says. Well, I think what Joey's getting, the main crux of what Joey's was getting to is, like, yeah, it has to be a priority, and, like, when you have so little resources of your own, you can only do so much when it comes to collecting certain things. And when you collect those certain things, it has to be something like you're especially passionate about. Hence why he's more than likely to shell out $65 for that Godzilla -1 collection than, say, the latest. What's the flavor of the week right now? The latest Nickelback album. Sorry, I couldn't think of the newest anything else to do. Although I am excited for the Creed reunion going on. Hopefully, we'll get a new Creed album out of that. That'd be cool. Whether I buy the album or not, or just listen to it on YouTube, that's yet to be seen. But so here's my thought process of when it comes to physical media. Typically, I default to watching everything on digital or listening to everything on digital online, because of the convenience factor. The convenience is a major draw for people, and then there's also the exclusives they put out online at some point. So there's that. But still, I will, even if I like something enough that I find online, I like having the option to buy it physically. Like I would say, what's this one movie I found recently online? Whatever. I don't know what. I found a movie on Netflix that I really liked, and I plan to eventually buy it on DVD just as soon as I remember what the title is. But so that's why I'm saying streaming can work in tandem with physical media. It doesn't have to be just one or the other,
Yeah, exactly. Like when it comes to streaming, I have always seen it as a good way to see if I want to buy it. That's how I always viewed streaming, and that's why I feel like that's why I don't buy digital copies. Like I did buy a digital copy of Godzilla -1 and New Empire because I wanted to watch them again, but
Same.
But I still don't really buy digital copies as a whole because, again, I'm just buying access to it, which again, that has value to it. There's plenty of value to that. Not everyone has the room or anything like that to place physical media. I get that, but there is plenty of collectors in the world, like you and me, that like to hold our stuff. We like to take the disc out and put it in.
Oh, you like to hold your stuff, all right?
Fucking hell, Cody. And that's why, like I said, and if there wasn't a market for it, again, these type of what's the word I'm looking for? Limited editions like the -1 thing there wouldn't be a thing.
Right on.
Because people are willing to drop that type of money. Now, look at me for example. I'm broke as hell right now. But so you know what I'm doing to make sure I get that copy? I'm having a friend, particularly Zimzilla, order it for me and to basically put it on hold because the Godzilla store makes it where you have to pay right out on pre-order, which is dumb as hell. So, and then once I get the money, I'll pay him back.
Yeah. Well, and also, don't forget the fact that you're working them streets to get the money.
Shut up.
Come on, be an honest hoe.
Don't tell Keyshawn.
Oh, I won't. Zimzilla might pimp slap me.
And this goes back to the topic, but that PS2 I brought up earlier, it works. It fucking works, guys. We got a PlayStation 2 again.
Awesome. Do you have any PS2 games available?
We never got rid of the ones we had as a kid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we got a PS2. We don't have to drop money on a new one. The only issue is the remote doesn't work, but you know what? It doesn't work properly. But guess what? That's the easiest fix of them all. I'd rather have... Hey, let me tell you something. I'd rather have a PS2 that works with a remote that doesn't than a remote that works with a PS2 that doesn't.
Right on. I will... Go ahead.
And because it's like that, oh boy, I got this PS2 remote. What the fuck am I going to do with it?
Okay, now what do I do with this?
Mm-hmm. Well, the PS2, it's like, oh, this is a big new thing. Of course, it has to be clean. It probably already is cleaned off because my family and all that are taking care of it right now after they found it. But when I saw it, it was dusty as hell. But of course it was because it was fucking abandoned. Poor little thing didn't have a home.
So it's unclean, just like you.
Yes. Oh fuck. Ugh. But yeah, and
He just orgasmed.
shut up. And now that is something that I'm taking issue with some of these bigger places. Like, for example, I've been going on about Game Pass, quite frankly. And again, I love Game Pass. I've been a defender of Game Pass when all the Sony ponies were bashing on it, because it was it was a convenient service to play games for a cheap price. But Microsoft are they're putting all their eggs in one fucking basket, making it where Game Pass is playable on PC, which gives you access to all the Xbox games besides 360 and original Xbox, and the few Xbox One games that didn't get ported to PC. And of course, they have it where it can even play on smart TVs, mobile devices, and it's like that. Why I take issue with that is because it gives people less reason to buy an Xbox. And less reason to buy an Xbox means physical copies ain't gonna sell. And that's one thing that really bothers me, because some stores already stopped selling Xbox physical copies.
Right on, right on. It sort of reminds me of the thing where I know I'm the only one here who's a wrestling fan, but WWE, right, like almost after the start of their online streaming network, shut down their home video department. So like their big wrestling shows, their pay-per-views that they put on are no longer like sold in stores, so you don't have those readily available to you either. So it's just like that's a major bummer too.
Yeah, exactly. And that is one thing I don't like is, like, so you have these very big companies putting their eggs in one basket, and it's not working either because, well, like, I don't know if that's changed recently since now Call of Duty is on Game Pass, but like beforehand, Game Pass was kind of bleeding subscribers. So
Ugh.
it's like this tactic's not good. And it's like, and I love Game Pass, but stop putting your eggs in one fucking basket, especially since it hurts those of us physical collectors.
There, you also have to take into the account the rising price of these places that have all their stuff in one place, and it's like it starts off low, like say $8.99. Eventually, that turns into $16.99, and then the price is just going to keep on going up because inflation's a bitch. So you would want the convenience of being able to say, okay, fuck this, bye y'all. I'm just going to go get my physical media over here.
Yeah, exactly. Now, another thing I do like about physical media, I do like is these smaller companies like Mill Creek, and Mill Creek, Shout Factory, and all of them. Like they are known with us big collectors, particularly those of us in the more underground stuff like foreign media. But of course, they're smaller than somewhere like Sony that was doing the physical stuff. And though what bothers me with Sony is I hear they're trying to. I hear Sony's planning to stop doing Blu-rays.
Woof.
Which is like, my God, these people are out of touch, because companies like Mill Creek and all of them, they're getting their profit from people like you and me. They're successful. Their whole brand, well, at least the majority of their brand, the core of it, is selling physical disc. It's like, why are you trying to be the all-new future? Like, why does everything have to be digital? Like, why can't we have both? Why can't you have digital as the majority choice for those who just want and constant access to the piece of art, and physical for those of us who want to collect? Like, here's the thing. I'm going to say this right now. If you collect action figures, which I'm a figure collector, don't get me wrong, and you say it's worthless to collect physical copies, how are what we doing different? We both have something that we think looks cool, and we want to hold it in our hand, place it on a shelf, and do all of that. Just that cool thing we have in our hand, we could also pop in our Blu-ray player or something.
Right on. I think it also goes back to something our homie Trevor said at some point. Like, doing it this way puts the control a little bit more back into the company's hands, so like they can control who has what a little bit more. Now, of course, there are pirating options, but let's not go down that rabbit hole, matey. But yeah, when you have physical media, you can do almost anything you want to it. You can want with it. You can show it to someone. You can let them borrow it. You can even let them have it if you want. And like that could say take a sale away from the big corporations. Whereas with this approach, this is probably their thinking. Like they control when you have it and when you don't. It's just that's just a one minor example. It's a lot of little pieces that makes up a bigger attempt at control and profit. Because when it comes to the big companies, their main objective is we got to have money.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like that is, you make a good point there. I think that is another reason companies like digital is because you can't give it away to the same degree. Like, I hear Steam with games allows some form of it, but for the most part with digital and all that,
it's more controlled.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole reason why, and it's hard to kind of, and Steam is kind of the exception because, well, PC gaming hardly does physical copies anymore. So it makes sense that Steam would only be digital and go a route like that.
Yeah, and I gotta say, that's pretty slimy to do.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why if, like when Xbox released this all digital Series X, it's like, and it's the same price? Who's buying this piece of garbage? It's the same price as the basic Xbox Series X, and you don't even get the option of the disk drive.
Yeah, so basically, going all digital for many different reasons is a big old not good. Definitely not good. I know it seems alluring to do that for very, very many reasons, most of which boil down to convenience, but I still say that physical media should be a constant and should still be a primary focus. If only so, it puts a little bit more of the control in the consumer's hands, the way you would want it, you as the consumer would want.
Yeah, which it's something I want to say. I feel like those of us into more niche things like tokusatsu, anime, all that stuff, I feel like we are more in like our niche community is popular. Physical media is very popular, and I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like those of us
who would say so.
Yeah, because that's why you have all these collections. You have all these companies like Mill Creek that are localizing them, giving us a place to buy them and own them. Because the fans, the small set of fans, are big enough to keep their ship afloat.
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of tokusatsu, I know like we're doing this big advocacy for physical media, but still, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Shout out to 2B for being like the go-to place for Toku Hero media. Like they have a whole bunch of Ultra and Kamen Rider and Sentai shows on there. So I thought that 2B, the little streaming service that could, who had just now the most used streaming service of the year, deserved the props.
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting about Tubi is actually probably might be the best streaming service out there, and it's the free one.
Yeah, I mean, I get the appeal of certain streaming services. Like they do, some have like original content that they want to put out, and then there's others that put out content that's not so good. Cough, cough. Disney Plus, stop making Star Wars shows.
Yeah, exactly.
But when it comes to just the convenience of wanting to watch something that you know is niche, but you have fond memories of, 9 times out of 10, Tubi's ready to go.
Yeah, like Tubi has. What's crazy about Tubi has very big movies from Hollywood, very big shows that air, but you also have foreign media, stuff like tokusatsu, like Kamen Rider and all that. You also have very niche American media, like I've seen this. There's this piece of crap Christmas movie. I forgot the name of it, but there's a wolf, there's an owl, there's a bear, and all that. It's dog shit. I've seen it as a kid, and it was basically, it's almost lost media. Like it's rare to find anywhere else, but it was on Tubi. And the fact that piece of crap is on Tubi is a good thing.
Yeah, it honestly blows my mind sometimes. Some of the shit I see on Tubi, I'm like, wait a minute, what? That's on there? Wait,
Yeah.
what's this? I have even no idea. It's fucking crazy. So, props to Tubi.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I feel like it's probably like it's not just the fact that it's free, it's the fact it's free and has almost everything you could want.
Something I gotta say about Tubi. I think the reason why it's so dominant right now is what I was talking about earlier with the increasing prices of streaming services and how people are. That might be a turnoff for people and why they might slowly turn away. That's another reason. Another reason why physical media should not be phased out, because if you do that eventually and enough people turn away from your streaming services or whatnot, you'll basically be shooting yourselves in the foot.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, the new price tag for Game Pass is a perfect example. Like Angry Joe even said, this $20 price increase for Game Pass is the last straw, like the last time it's acceptable that that the price will be that way, because then
$20. What's that? What's that combined with the whole price overall?
It's $20 a month. I can't remember how it is. I can't remember what it adds up to in a year. But when it comes to Game Pass, you get all Xbox games day one, so that's good. Even though a lot of Xbox games,
it's good.
Yeah, even though a lot of Xbox games recently has been a little unfortunate in quality.
That's bad.
Yeah, and you also get like multi-platform games that Microsoft's own, like Call of Duty and Doom will be their day one. And then you get other games that hit there that are multi-platform that aren't their day one, but do come to the platform. And that's overall a really great thing. But here's the thing, like $20 is the maximum. The more you raise that price, the more the value of that streaming service is gonna die, because as time goes on, if you keep raising it, it's gonna be almost the price of just buying the fucking game. And yeah, you get access to many, but let's be real, how many people are gonna be playing 90% of the games on there?
Yeah, so basically, for various reasons, like I said before, the approach that they seem to be trying to go with right now is sort of a shot in the foot, in their own foot, cutting off their nose to spite their face.
Yeah, exactly. But and I'm still rooting for Game Pass. I'm rooting for Xbox as a whole because I love my Xbox, I love my PlayStation, I love my Switch. There's so much variety in owning them. And overall, the streaming service Game Pass is a great idea by concept. When I first subscribed to it, there was a lot of new stuff to play, and there's still a lot of stuff to play. But after a while, once you play a lot of that, you're gonna start seeing basically just slop there to fill the spot.
Right on, right on. Oh, by the way, don't tell Sony Pony Wade how much you love Microsoft's work.
I know. Alice,
The orgasmed again.
Alice said, "Hello there." That an Obi-Wan reference.
General Kenobi.
How are you today, Alice? We'll see when a response is given. Tokupunk said, "Never use Game Pass, never will." I understand that because, again, the price is getting crazy, and there's a lot of stuff that are just coming there to fill the spot now. So, basically, at this point, the value in Game Pass is debatable.
Yeah, and it seems like when it comes to that, certain online providers as a whole might be becoming questionable too with their increased prices.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something I feel like streaming services are going in general. Like even Netflix keeps raising its price, and that's something that is a little unsettling.
Yeah, I gotta say, eventually, I have a lot of different streaming services, but with these price spikes, eventually it's going to come down to the point where, well, to quote the Kingpin, sacrifices must be made.
Yeah. Oh man, the Kingpin was both awesome and hilarious in that show.
Fuck yeah.
Like, I've rewatched Spider-Man the animated series recently. That's another thing that needs a physical copy because it never got a proper one.
It had like a few random episodes released on VHS and DVD back in the day, but nothing since then.
Yeah, exactly, which is a fucking shame.
It really is, because that's like one of the best pieces of Spider-Man extended media out there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's got flaws, but overall, it's really fucking good. And the fact that now there is hope for it, because I'm not sure if you saw, but like you've also grew up with the 2000s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle show, correct?
The 2000 what?
The early 2000s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I've seen episodes from it, not a full season, I don't think, but I want to eventually.
Bro, you should. That is peak TMNT there, at least in my opinion. But
I'm partial to the 2012 show only because, like, well, okay, the main part of it is the fact that it has so many known actors playing the characters that I'm a fan of. Like, Mae Whitman is April O'Neil, and as you know, she played Katara in
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Josh Peck is Casey Jones. Greg Sipes, who was Beast Boys on Teen Titans, is Michelangelo. How perfect of casting is that? Sean Astin from Goonies and Lord of the Rings is Raphael, and Rob Paulson is Donatello. And then, like, Jason Bateman was Leonardo in the first few seasons, and then was voiced by Seth Green in the last few seasons. So for that reason, it has such a stacked voice cast. I can't help but love it.
Oh, I'm sure it's great, and I do want to see it at some point. Though I will admit, the art style isn't my cup of tea. I'm not saying the art style is bad, because that's a very, very subjective thing. There, it's like if you like an art style, you do. If you don't, you don't.
Oh, I understand completely. When I first saw the style of it, I was a bit turned away by it too. But to be fair, it's like with Ultraman Rising, where even though I would prefer they do something else, they use the style of animation to its peak potential. So even though I would prefer my ultimate dream show would be taking the voice actors of 2012, giving it the animation and storytelling of 2003, and then the opening theme song from the 80s show, and that's my dream Ninja Turtle show, but it'll never happen, so
That makes sense. Now, I might be a little biased saying that the 2003 TMNT show was the best, but I will say this, while I acknowledge I'm biased since I grew up with it, I will argue that it is a great show.
Oh, it definitely is. But to your original point you were trying to make, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
What I'm about to say is that has a collector's set of the full series that came out recently. I still gotta buy that shit.
He's gonna buy the collector's set.
Because, like, that shit looks really fucking good, and I've been...
It looks really fucking good, he says.
Like,
I'm sorry I'm cutting you off, but I just gotta say, ooh-wee. What's up with that? What's up with that? Ooh-wee. What's up with that?
Like, I'm planning to buy it because, like I said, I'm a huge fan of the show, and what's funny, me and my brother's been saying for years, this needs to happen. We need this collector's set, and now it's finally happened. When that show used to have the same treatment as Spider-Man the Animated Series. There was DVDs released of random episodes. They were good for my childhood, but they're not necessarily good if you want to watch the show. So it's like, I feel like that is a very good thing. And again...
So basically what you're saying is, like Joe Tokupunk said, you need to touch it.
Yes.
Whereas when it comes to watching it on, say, YouTube or Paramount Plus, you can look, but you can't touch.
Yes. But yeah, I'm happy with what we are getting. And again, when it comes to stuff like physical media, it does concern me when some stores remove it. Now, that's only some stores. Like,
it's not just stores. In Japan, from what I understand, physical media, they're trying to phase it out, like, completely.
I've heard mixed things on that, interesting enough. In Japan, like, I've heard some people say they're trying to phase it out, but I've also heard people say the exact opposite. I've heard people like, for example, G.N.O, I think G.N.O said, and G.N.O if I am misconstruing your argument, please feel free to correct me. But I think G.N.O, amongst some other people, has said that it's more popular here than it is there. And I would believe that because physical media, like Blu-ray sales, while expensive, they also have a big factor in deciding if a TV show continues. Like, for example, many people didn't know if Chainsaw Man was going to get a season 2 because in Japan, the Blu-rays weren't selling well.
Whereas here,
it did. Now it is getting a season 2 because
but
it's not going to be the same director because a lot of Japanese people didn't like that the show's director added a lot of reference to Hollywood movies that weren't in the source material. And
cry me a fucking river.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a really goofy criticism. I think it's cool. Why? Yeah, it's not in the source material, but so what? This isn't the source material. It's an adaptation.
I want to talk about something Tokupunk just said because it was something I touched on earlier in the video. He said, I was heartbroken when Best Buy stopped selling physical media. Best Buy was my favorite place to go to for movies. It was one of mine too. So that was a big disappointing to see such a big retail chain take that stance, which I got a feeling may come back to bite them eventually.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll see. Still, the majority of the stores here in the United States, the majority of them still sell physical copies. I've seen some things that don't like. One store stopped selling Xbox copies, and that's Xbox's fault for putting their eggs in one fucking bag.
Joey? Are you still there? Dokupunk, is Joey still there, or am I getting phased out? Ugh. Fuck. Okay, this is awkward. Joey died, and I guess it's up to me to take the ball and run with it a little bit. Here's my take on it. I hope that physical media as a whole will probably never die. It may not. It may not. But we won't know for sure until we'll just have to see over time. But I got a feeling that even if physical media is phased out somewhat, it might end up making some sort of a comeback eventually, because there's a lot of things that do. I remember at one point they stopped selling vinyl records, and eventually those made a comeback in full, mostly because DJs like scratching them up on their turntables at raves and stuff, and sampling music from the vinyls. But that's a good example. And
Sorry, my thing went out for a bit.
It's okay. And also VHS, believe it or not, is still around in some form or fashion. It's usually a very special thing that you have to do, but there's the VHS horror tape series, but they do sell VHSs of those sometimes, and they even sold VHS copies of Psycho Goreman, which just goes to show that even if it may lose its mainstream appeal, there's more than likely always going to be a place for certain things, and that includes physical media.
Yeah, I agree with that. And another reason why I'm more inclined to believe the people that physical media is more popular in Japan, because in Japan, from what I've heard, is there's retro game stores, and they're actually quite common to my knowledge, where they sell old consoles, old games, and stuff like that. And I heard you can also still find those in the normal game stores too, retro games and all that laying around, which I have seen retro games like some PS2 in Walmart. But here's the thing, that's rare, and there's only small copies you can come across in them. And now this brings me to another point I want to make. When it comes to old games, I feel like games get the short end of the stick with preservation even more than movies and all that do. And that's, for example, because with old games, the moment that old console is more outdated is outdated. Like the console's not being sold on a shelf anymore in most official stores, besides the very few retro game stores we have in the United States. And of course, the games aren't. But here's the thing: maybe someday, and I think this should happen, we can get a proper, like you've seen stuff like the Super Nintendo Classic, the Sega Saturn Classic, and all that. Correct?
Yeah.
Those are digital consoles, which they're cool little novelties, I guess, but they're still not really the console coming back. Now, adding the digital option to the old consoles, that's a cool new feature, but it should able to run the old games, the old disc, and all of that. And I would like to see stores, like, for example, Xbox Series X has a fantastic range of backwards compatibility. It plays all Xbox One games, and it plays a good chunk of Xbox 360 and original Xbox games. With that backwards compatibility, I think, why can't we get a proper, what's the word I'm looking for? Like why can't like Xbox 360 games and OG Xbox games be on a Walmart shelf anymore? Like, they should sell them, and Microsoft should still decide to make money off of these old discs and print more of them because they run on the new console, and maybe do something like a PlayStation 1 or PS2 Classic that has the digital option, but also allows you to play those old the old disc, and of course, by extension, selling those old disc again.
So yeah, there is a lot of viability in still selling physical media, whether it be classic or not.
Yeah,
But another good example, just to say, Tokupunk says retro stores are a scam here in the U.S. I don't fully agree with that. There's this one game store where they sell classic Nintendo games and Sega games and whatnot, but they all sorts of games, but they also have an arcade, something else that was phased out but made a little bit of a comeback, and the other side. So it's just like there's cool, unique things like that you could do too. So another way where physical media will never truly die.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I want to touch on this on the term like rip-off and scams. Those are two different things. Like, even the retro game stores that are overpriced, that's not the same as a scam. Like, many people, like, you see all this stuff going, oh, this person scammed the person by doing stuff like an NFT or overpricing a item.
Okay, I will concede that the overpricing is a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem, but that is not a scam. A scam is something that's sold, like, for example, like, let's say I'm going to sell you this nice chair, but you pay for this chair and you never get it. I scammed you. A ripoff, on the other hand, would be, hey, you want this nice chair? Well, that's $5,000, motherfucker.
Or alternatively, you sell them the chair knowing it's a piece of crap.
Yeah.
That's also a scam.
Yeah, that's a scam. But many people, like, confuse scam and ripoff. And, like, I watch a lot of commentary videos because they're entertaining. It could be entertaining seeing other people's takes on drama and seeing all this stuff that goes around. There's a lot of humor around it. But one thing I noticed in the commentary community is they call things scams when they're really just a ripoff. That's it. Like, people need to learn the English language. And I'm not insulting you, Tokupunk, by the way. Like, I know many people get that mixed up. I just am kind of sick of commentary channels blowing up, like, overpriced things as going, oh, this person scammed somebody. You can still criticize that person for making the price ridiculous, but you're getting what you paid for. It's just a terrible price, and they ripped you off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just what I feel on the whole topic. But yeah, do you have anything more to say about physical media, Cody?
Basically, I just hope it sticks around.
I think it will. Like, here's what I think, Cody. I think the worst thing that'll ever happen to physical media is maybe we'll be stuck with limited editions like that Godzilla -1 set right there. Maybe, because us collectors will always be a thing, will always be dedicated, and will always exist. So I feel like that's the worst that could happen. But even then, I'm not sure if it'll even get to that point. But there is some. But I won't lie and say there isn't concerns, especially with big companies like Sony and all of them doing some really shitty things. But only time will tell. There's plenty of value in it. But yeah, that's what I have to say on the topic. We might tackle this again sometime in the future. Like my friend Jinrai Prime has shown interest in doing in tackling the physical media topic. So at some point we can have him on, and I'm sure there's many things me and Cody hasn't explored right now.
Probably it's possible, but I honestly can't think of anything past what we've just said.
Oh, me neither. This was a really good discussion. And that's the thing about the whole topic with physical media and all of that. Now, elephant in the room, GentleDragon didn't show up, and neither did Jiku. And no hate towards them. I'm sure they're busy. It's late at night where Jiku's at. He lives in Japan. But it's just like, so maybe I could get them in.
I don't know. I think this might have been a concerted attack on your part. It's the equivalent of taking someone out to the park at late at night to play hide and seek, and then driving off to the nearest restaurant to have drinks and laugh about it. I'm telling you, there's a conspiracy against you, bro. C-O-N conspiracy.
Maybe they're out to assassinate me.
They're out to get you, man.
Tokupunk Productions said, I miss Media Blasters, Shin, Kamen Rider, Zeto, and J box set. I did too, but that's because, like, see, that right there, at least I think I'm open to someone be explaining why I'm wrong on this. I'm going to say that was a ripoff, because I wanted that box set. It had Kamen Rider World, the short on it. It had the art, and it had some behind-the-scenes stuff. But here's the thing. Only one of those movies are feature-length, and I get they have to pay for the license, but you have one. The movies are feature-length. I mean, only one movie is feature-length. The other two are shorts, and the extra film put into that is only 6 fucking minutes.
Speaking of shorts, put yours back on, man. Really?
And the box set in Japan isn't even that price to my understanding. Like, again, I get they have to pay for it, but still, I think it's overpriced, I think. That's why I'm just going to get the standard release. Because
right
like I feel like that. Hey, let me tell you something. If that set...
Let me tell you something, brother.
Like, if that was a set of 3 limited run movies with a 6-minute short and all that, I'd say the price would be very justified. But I think with the other two being 40-some minutes, and again, I'm open to someone being like, no, Gojin, you're wrong. This is why. But I don't know. I think it's a bit of a ripoff, I think, personally.
Right on. Tokupunk also asks, off topic, but how are you enjoying Turn A Peak? What?
Oh, Turn A Gundam. I've actually finished Turn A Gundam like quite a few weeks ago. It was a really good Gundam series. Absolutely enjoyed it.
I don't watch Gundam, so I can't say yay or nay.
I'd recommend it. But yeah.
I might do something like that. It seems interesting to me. It's just like, it's sort of a big commitment. Like, I'm only just recently really getting into the Ultra series seriously. So it's just like, it's just a matter of do I want to commit myself, you know?
Oh yeah, that's understandable, but here's how I see it. Now, maybe you and other people be like, okay, I have to marathon this shit. But since Gundam, Godzilla, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and all that, a lot of the stuff, actually most of them are pretty self-contained, so I think it's pretty easy to just watch one at a time. Like, at this point, I've still only seen 3 Sentai shows in full. I want to watch more. But if I had that mindset of, oh, I gotta binge watch this franchise, I would have seen more than 3 Sentai shows in full in the last few years.
I'd say that's fair. One of the beautiful things about these type of series is, like you said, a lot of the shows are self-contained, so you can basically jump in at any time. I mean, hell, I watched Ultraman X. It was the very first Ultra series I watched from beginning to end in its entirety, and then went from there. I watched the original Ultraman, and then went from there, and it went on and on and on and on. So
That's just because it's that good.
and you could, and so yeah, I guess you could take that same approach with Gundam, and definitely Super Sentai and Kamen Rider.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely Ultraman too.
For sure, for sure.
Godzilla, I'd say to a lesser extent, because, well,
I don't know.
like the Heisei movies, you have to watch those in order. In the Showa, I still feel like it benefits if you watch them in order. Like, the Showa isn't a must-watch in order, but it would benefit you.
I guess that's true. I did watch Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla was the first Godzilla movie I ever saw, and Godzilla vs. Gigan was the second movie I ever saw. Then I saw Megalon, and then like just random ones from there until I eventually watched the whole. I've seen the whole movie series, but so I guess it's not entirely necessary, but depending on which area you jump in on, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Millennium series and Reiwa, that shit is easy to binge.
Right on.
Like, basically, here's the thing. In Godzilla's case, pick your era, I say.
Right on. And hope that there's a physical copy of those eras readily available for you.
Okay. Yep. Tokupunk said, also, Joey, did you see my response to your Shin, Zeto, and Jay said? Let me check, because I don't always get a chance to read the chat because I have an ADHD mind, and sometimes I get very invested in the conversations, but,
You invest in these nuts.
Tokupunk said, it was that pricey because it was pricey to get, they said, on their channel, and it was going to be pricey anyway, and said later in the year they would do sets themselves without World. Yeah, I get that. Like, okay, ripoff isn't the word to use. Like, they have to pay. Like, they have to pay for the license. I understand that, but still, I'm not gonna get I'm not gonna put my money towards a set with only one feature-length movie with that price. Mainly because I can't afford it. But I will get the other sets. It does suck that I can't get World with it, but World is the least important since it's only 6 fucking minutes.
Okay.
But to anybody who can get that set, good luck, and I'm happy for you. I just don't have the money for it. -1 on the other hand, yeah, I'm getting that fucking set before it goes out.
I respect that. I wish I could too. Even though I don't own a Blu-ray player, if I had like the financial stability, I would pick that up in a heartbeat anyways, just to say I had it.
Yeah, I completely get that, and I also sympathize with you. Like, if I wasn't a broke bitch myself who is also struggling, I would help you with that. I would.
I appreciate it, man. You're a good man, Charlie Brown.
You are too. But
thank you very much.
But I think that's all we have to add to this podcast. What do you think, Cody?
I guess I could say Creed is better than Linkin Park. Tokupunk, you little bitch.
Go eat a dick. Linkin Park is awesome.
Linkin Park is overrated as fuck. Chester knew Linkin Park sucked. That's why he killed himself.
That's a little edgy, bro.
You're one to talk.
Oh, I know, but damn, son. Okay, if anyone goes after anybody, I had nothing to do with that joke. I don't condone it.
Come and get me. I don't give a fuck.
I respect that.
I got nothing to lose right now, man. My life is falling apart, so
you don't even have your balls to lose.
Yeah, that's because you're busy putting them in your mouth.
With that said, that was it for this episode. And jokes aside, please don't go after Cody for doing a joke.
No, in all seriousness, I like Linkin Park. I was just being a dipshit.
Yeah, like I'm not telling you to go after Cody. Like that was a joke there.
Yeah. By the way, favorite Linkin Park song. I just so we're clear. I know it's cliche, but I do genuinely like it. I really like Numb.
I love Numb too. It's a very inspirational song, and it helped a lot of people, myself included, get through some times, and it's just overall very, very good. I love Linkin Park.
Fuck, now I want to talk about Linkin Park for a good minute, but maybe some other time, because I got stuff I have to do.
Yeah, some other time would be good. But yeah, look forward to more podcasts. We're going to be doing these more often. Maybe next time Jiku and GentleDragon can make it on.
I doubt it because they suck.
Yeah. But jokes aside, we love you guys. We love you. You still
Please come
suck.
back. Please come back. We have cookies that we poisoned.
But anyway, with that being said, please comment your thoughts down below, and if you like it, smash that like button, share it around, and subscribe. Also, check out Sakura Central. Like, we've been really growing that. My friends Nuke Huber and all that, they've got an interview with Budagon's actress, Ryota, at G-Fest, and soon that video will be going up on YouTube, so look forward to that.
Wait a minute. The actress who actually did roaring while she was in the Baragon suit?
Yep, and she still sounds the same with that, too. Like, there's a video of her doing the same exact roar. It's fucking cute.
I need to I need this in my life because she is a national treasure and needs to be protected. An international treasure.
Yeah. But yeah, we got an interview with her.
And also, I've started doing 60-minute reviews for Sakura Central for Ultraman Arc as it's airing. I have the script written for episode 2, so if you want to hear more of my alluring, sexy voice that doesn't sound the least bit autistic, go follow Sakura Central for that.
Yeah, on Facebook and Instagram for the Tedabi in 60 seconds. I've been reviewing the episodes of Nier Automata version 1.1a. So there's plenty of content there along multiple other stuff. It's the perfect weeb zone. There's J-drama, anime, JRPGs, tokusatsu, anything you could stuff your fucking dick in, like Cody does a toaster.
Only because you asked me to and pay me for it.
Yeah, you fucking whore.
Hey, at least I'm an honest hoe, unlike some people I know.
Oh, fuck.
So, in other words, 7-2, the Weeblight Zone.
Yep. But as is for this episode, this is Gojin the Makai Phantom, leaving the building.
Stay awesome, people.